Hi Leo, welcome to your August 2017 Astro update. It's Raina here. I hope you can hear me. I'm kind of keeping my voice down because it's almost midnight. As a matter of fact, it just turned midnight and it is officially the date of the new moon, the first one in Leo, on July 23rd. So this ushers in a period for Leo of a lot of potentially life-changing events for you. So just the fact that you have two new moons during this month-long cycle, and of course I am including the end of July in all of this, but then you have your solar eclipse on August 21st, and that is at a latter degree of Leo, 28 degrees to be exact. The first one being 0 degrees. So we have these bookends, almost like beginnings and endings. And even though new moons are typically seen as beginnings, especially with that eclipse and how it can dramatically alter life for people, maybe not on that date, but within months of the date, there have to be some sort of endings in order to usher in these new beginnings, right? So something has to be changed, altered in one's life. And for Leo, this can be a bit unsettling, being a fixed sign as you are. So you may have wonderful new bursts of fresh experiences and energy enter your reality and still be kind of, holding on to your hat and being a little bit reluctant to go with the flow. So just keep that in mind as August, unfolds, and even beyond August, going into the I was going to say the fall, but I wasn't thinking of you Australians and people in the southern hemisphere. So let's just say the rest of 2017, shall we? But there's something about August for Leo that is so exciting because even having the sun in your sign, you're ruled by the sun. So it's like this, it's just an extra emphasis of kind of like having this warmth bestowed upon you. You have the North Node in your sign. You're going to have Venus in your sign. You're going to have Mars in your own sign all month. And you're going to have Mercury re-enter your sign. Mercury goes retrograde on August 12th in Virgo, your second house of earned income. And on the 31st, it goes back into Leo. And so it's going to make you rethink something about yourself. And so we're looking at the house of the self and the house of income, and what needs to be altered in those areas. And you're going to be thinking about those things. But there's going to be a planet that goes direct this month, and it's Saturn. And Saturn has been transiting through the sign of Sagittarius for 2 years now. And this is your fifth house of romance, love itself, creativity, and the like. And ever since April, when Saturn has retrograded in this house, you may have felt some kind of slowing down in the area of trying to establish something related to a romantic relationship, This is also the house of children. So if you wanted to start a family and something seemed to always elude you, that could have been in part due to the Saturn retrograde. But even creative projects may have somehow come to a grinding halt, and you will start to see that ease up. This is, on the 25th of the month, it going direct is very close to the end of August. But because this is your natural house, the 5th house, again, that's another connection to Leo and how it may impact you on an even deeper level than it would other signs who have it in their fifth house as well. So I want to talk first about some unfinished business. When you have planets transing through the 12th house, that can indicate areas of your life that you need to kind of clean up the loose threads and make sure that you have dealt with whatever issues are connected to that particular planet. And I'll give you an example with you. As the month begins, you have Venus in Cancer, and that's your 12th house. And you also have, let me see, I think you have two. Is Venus the only? Well, maybe it is only Venus. I thought there were a couple of them. But let's just talk about Venus for a second in the 12th house. Venus in the 12th house can actually bring karmic relationships into your life much more readily because the 12th house is Pisces' natural house. So it's the house of past lives, of anything mystical, anything transcendent, not of this world. But the 12th house is also the house of undoing. So all of the self-destructive actions that people take, whether it's addictions, whether it is the lack of self-love, these kind of things can sometimes be traced to the 12th house, which tends to sublimate issues, not deal with them overtly. The 12th house is very indirect because Pisces is very indirect. Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, is very foggy. It's not distinct. It's not clear. And confusion can arise with whatever issues. When people have Venus in the 12th house, for some, they may find themselves engaging in behaviors with romantic partners that are on the down low. So you can have illicit affairs. You can have, in other words, having affairs with people who are already involved in relationships and you're sneaking around. It can involve relationships with people that feel very much like karmic ties, but at the same time they may be negative in nature. They may feel like you are actually hurting yourself by being around this person. So while Venus is in this last house of the zodiac, you may, if you're having a relationship like that, you may decide that you're going to end it because you want to just emerge with a clean slate. Venus goes into your sign on August 26th, and you've probably heard the expression that nature abhors a vacuum. And basically what this means is that when you let go of something that is no longer serving you, or an item in your house that you really don't need, something will come into your reality to take its place, because that's just how life is. And this sort of philosophy can be helpful if you're the type of person who fears letting go of things because you don't know if you'll ever get them back or you'll need them in the future. I don't think many Leo people think like this, because you tend to be more likely to have a very grandiose view of your finances and your ability to attract abundance. So I'm speaking for those Leos who have a lot of Virgo in them, maybe. But the same thing applies to people. And if you are hanging on to a relationship because you fear being alone, and yet this relationship, not only is it not really keeping you company, but it's actually taking away from you. It's siphoning away bits of you. That is another example of choosing yourself over your fear of being alone. And so Leo goes into your sign on the 26th, and all of a sudden, you are like totally irresistible. You have Venus in your sign, Venus in the first house of self. So what does that mean? That means that if you're looking for a job, you have that much more charisma. I was going to say attractiveness, but people tend to assume when I say attractiveness that I mean physical, beauty. It's attractive means you attract to you. And also, Venus can bring money with her. So you can benefit from your own PR, from how you promote yourself. And this can also be good for love. I mean, Venus in the first house, you find love based on you. And Leo is usually larger than life, is usually the life of the party. So with Mars in your sign all month, you're unstoppable, okay? The thing about Mars and Leo, though, Mars and Leo by itself is a handful. So if I were talking to a Virgo with Mars and Leo, I would say the same thing, because Leo is larger than life. So in Mars, this planet that is already like a warrior energy, very much active and doing and ambitious, seizing the moment and grabbing the gusto. You have it in Leo, the diva, the ultimate diva. So, I don't know, is there a male version of a diva? Is Devo a thing besides the rock group? Is there such a thing as a Devo? But whatever that is, you have to be careful. Mars in one's own sign can be overbearing. And Leo in and of itself can be overbearing when the person is not feeling their best. When the Leo does not feel confident, they throw their weight around and they act like they're royalty and, that kind of thing. Notice that I said when you're not feeling your best. I didn't say every day that you act like this. You're a warm sign. You're the sun. So you warm all of us. And we bask in your glow. But the only thing is that you have to keep up your strength. In the tarot, you are the strength card. You're the rock. You're a fixed sign. You're a fire sign, so you have that enthusiasm. But everybody is human, and everybody has their moments. And so just remember that all month, that you have the mojo with Mars in your sign. You don't need to dial it up to 11 at any point. So let me talk briefly about the lunar eclipse. The lunar eclipse is a powerful full moon. It's happening at 15 degrees of Aquarius on August 7th. This is your 7th house of relationships. The easy way of talking about this is saying your relationship, your marriage, or your other monogamous committed relationship will be eclipsed out. Obviously, that's not going to happen for everyone who has this house. And now is a good time to let you know that because of the nature of a YouTube reading, this is very, very general, even for astrology and your sign, because your sun sign, if you're watching for your sun sign in Leo, the degree of your sun sign matters in terms of these transits, and if you're watching it for your rising sign, it matters as well. And I should always let people know that this is also for the rising sign of Leo. I tend not to do that with the tarot readings because it's a totally different animal, but I should have said that at the beginning. So the worst case scenario would be that your relationship would at some point disintegrate. I'll say two things about that. First of all, it's not going to leave unless there's already a weak link. If you have a rock-solid, awesome relationship, why would it end? It wouldn't end. It's because it's meant to end. And it could very well be that some of you are holding on to this thing, and the universe had to step in because you were unwilling to let it go. And it's blocking your progress, maybe in many different areas of your life. So embrace change. Don't stand in its way. As if we look at it, the lunar eclipse as just a very powerful full moon and forget about the eclipse part. Full moons can bring awareness, aha moments. In this case, in the area of your relationship, your marriage, perhaps you were living in denial over something, and now it's like staring you in the face. And it can be freeing. It can actually be a chance to let go and not feel like you're doing something wrong. So it can be a liberation. And of course, there is that solar eclipse on the 21st. Now, granted, this is going to be during a Mercury retrograde. So what it can be, Leo, you've already had one new moon. The second one may be really something to think about things that you want, but you may not necessarily act upon them until after Saturn goes direct. Saturn goes direct on the 25th of the month, and then into September. On the 5th of September, we have Mercury turning direct, and after this date, Mercury will be gaining more and more strength until it reaches the point where it was at before it retrograded, and I believe that's around the time of the new moon in Virgo. So if you have ideas that are not time sensitive, just really get creative during that solar eclipse. And I'm not just saying on that date, but within that beautiful period right afterwards, and see what kind of things you can dream up for yourself, because the seeds that you plant could turn into, monsters, and in a good way, monster flowers, in probably even less time, because everything is so amplified, being a solar eclipse. So there's another sign that you are really rocking and rolling and very powerful. The sun in your sign giving you that vitality, that sense of renewal, which always happens when you have your solar return. You have that sense of coming back to yourself. And especially for somebody ruled by the sun, And then the sun goes into your second house in Virgo on the 22nd of the month. And so this brings it down to the earth level in terms of money that you earn, your possessions, and your self-worth. And the sun warming that self-worth and making you realize what your talents are. Having Saturn turn direct in your fifth house, I think that'll also relate to your talents that connect with creativity especially. And maybe you questioned yourself during this transit, this retrograde, I should say. And I'm talking about Saturn in the fifth house, and even with love matters, and now you really feel raring to go. So I hope you enjoyed this, Leo, and I wish you a very beautiful August, because I think it will be for you. It may play out in a very subtle way, who knows? Maybe it won't be over the top, but whatever happens, good luck to you. If you'd like a private reading looking at the next 12 months of your life, and also having an analysis of your natal chart, I love doing these. And sometimes maybe I validate some of the things that you have always wanted to do, but you talked yourself out of. That can happen, certainly. But I've been having an extended special with my natal chart interpretation readings, and they also include some important, times in the next 12 months for your career, love, money matters, things like that. So they're an hour-long reading. Just click on the link below to take you to my website. But otherwise, good luck. And we shall see what happens, won't we? Bye.